So welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. Testing. How's that? Okay. Howdy.
Hi.
Glad to be here. Thank you all for inviting me. I just love pastels. Oops.
No, it's not you. It's not
Okay.
you. You're good.
I also watercolor on the side, but pastels will always be my favorite, even though I studied watercolors in college. But once I found pastels, that was it. So, and I'll explain all that. But I'm going to show you a few things first. There's an investment in pastels like any medium, but it's pretty cheap if you want to be cheap. You can get about $15 set. There's 64, I think, colors in here, off little sticks. Great. That's all you need, and they're not bad. They're not bad at all. These are good quality considering what they are, but you can start out with that. You can get the cheaper paper, which is pastel paper. It's just a textured paper, so it holds the pastel a little better. It's real inexpensive. Shop rag, wipe your hands on, that's cheap. And you don't need anything else really, but make a set of pastel pencils, okay, lots of pencils. I think there's about 80 in that set. They come in different ranges of hardness. These are hard pastels. They're called new pastels, spelled N-U. And if you see any around, you should buy them if you're ever interested in it, because they're not going to make them anymore. I don't know why, but they're decided not to make them, but they're great. Those are the hardest. Pencils are about next in hardness, and then you get into the sticks. Some of the sticks are fairly hard. This is a soft one. You can see how soft that is, and it marked really easily. Some of them, let's see, I think that one, it's a little harder, but anyhow, there's whole different ranges of hardness on these things. I prefer the super soft myself. They're the most expensive, of course, but you can get them on sale too. So that's nice. Yeah. I'm going to show you a few little gadgets just because you're all artists here, and you might, if you've never seen these things, these are really cool. I use this a lot when I'm taking something, and especially with a portrait, to measure. You can measure. You can change this little stick here, and you'll get a different ratio. You can get 1:1 or just 1:3 or whatever, but you can do like this. Watch. You take like that, and then you transfer it. Yeah, it's called a Prospec tool, P-R-O-S-P-E-K. It's less than $10, but it's great, and you can use it in all kinds of things. This, if you've never seen one, it's called thevalueviewer.com. It's where you go. thevalueviewer.com. It's great for checking your values on your paintings. Just hold it up, like, whoops, like that. And you can check and see how things are doing. But I've never even taken it out of the plastic, because you can use it right through the plastic. So it's nice and pretty. It also has a white mat on one side, black mat on the other. So you can get an idea of what you're doing. We'll get to that later. Oh yeah, I was going to pass something around. When you've done pastels and practiced a little bit, you move on to sanded paper. And this is just a little strip. It's special pastel paper, and it is a sanded paper. This particular one, I think, is at about a 500 grit. There's lesser, there's more, but it really holds the pastels. And I highly recommend, if you want to just pass them around, feel it. Oh, I think I've got just about all the little tricks, but I do have 3 magazines here. These are pastel journals, and if you've never seen a lot of pastels, these are awesome. So y'all can look at them, but everything in these magazines is a pastel, and you'd swear it was a photograph sometimes. They're that good. And then there's really loose ones. Some of them are really loose like that. Depends on what you like to do. But if y'all want to look at those, there. Have fun with that. Okay, so it was sticking up there, wasn't it?
You need a piece of tape or a pin?
Piece of tape or a pin would be nice. Well, it might work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ask any questions at any time, and because I can talk with the microphone and paint at the same time. I learned how to do that. But I'll explain what I'm doing too at the same time. I can find my-
Excuse me, is your
Sure.
paper that you're using right now, is that the sanded?
Yes, yes. It's in fact, I cut it off. That piece that's going around. Thank you. Is what it is. Yeah, that'll work. Right there. Okay. I can't draw a straight line, just so you know. I don't know too many artists who can, actually. It's not an excuse. Okay, so I use vine charcoal to start. It's soft, and I can do that. If I don't like the mark I make, because I'm going to cover over it. I'm going to cover over it with the pastel. But I generally will start with this, just kind of, see, that's my straight line. Sort of. I'll even it up later, but I just kind of want to get a rough idea. Okay.
Like Bob Ross without a brush.
Yeah.
Right.
And without the curly
And
hair.
without the curly
Yeah.
hair, right?
Yeah.
But maybe some happy accidents.
Yes, yes. Yes, pastels are all about that. I actually have a little bitty plastic Bob Ross that's like my little mascot. It's in my studio. Yeah. He's like that big. How many of y'all watched Bob Ross?
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Yeah, I did. I was fascinated by him.
Here's a fun tip. If you have a Samsung television, they have free programming from Samsung on the app. Channel 1069 is 24/7 Bob Ross. 24/7. Our dog loves Bob Ross.
Oh, how funny.
1069. Only on Samsung. That's all I know. I stumbled on it, and that's where we are.
Okay. Just block it in a little bit first, so I get a rough idea of what I'm going to do. Spoiler alert, I've painted this before. And I sold it to my husband. He wasn't my husband then. He bought it. Yeah, he bought it. Bought several of my paintings. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I thought he was pretty smart. He's here, by the way. Probably embarrassed right now. Let's see, I want him a little fatter, so see, no biggie. Charcoal's great, but it's the vine charcoal, not the, I always forget the other name, but there's another kind of charcoal. It's too hard. This is real soft, so you can, and if you really want to, yeah, you can kind of do that. See, you can do that. That's good enough. Okay, so we've got 3 little pairs. how many of y'all watercolor out there? Anybody? A little bit? A bunch of you? Yeah. So y'all are familiar that you usually start out with the light colors and then you go dark with watercolor when you're painting, right? In layers. Well, it's the opposite with pastels. You generally will put in your dark values first. And I'm not going to do a really black background. It will be lighter, but I think I'm done with that.
Why dark first?
Pardon?
Why dark first?
Why dark first? Because a couple reasons. If you do some light, if I were to do the light first and then I come back and say I did a really dark background, some of the dust will fall down on it, and it'll get on it, and I'll have to sit there and thump it, get it off, and so you set your values with your darks first. Like, let's see, one thing I didn't bring. I'll just get that. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna make a little shelf here. There. I usually put all my pastels I'm using in a little container. So, okay. So let's just say I'll do a fairly dark background. I think I like purple. What can I say? But I'm going to go ahead and block in some of that background. And as you know, on a color wheel, which I've got one right there, what's the complementary color? Yellow, violet. Yeah. I had an art teacher in college that wouldn't let us say purple. Violet. That's what he would walk up behind you and he'd go, violet. And you're, oh, okay. Yeah. He was a little guy too. He had his deep voice. Yeah. Scared the Jesus out of me once. He walked up behind me and he goes, darker, darker, darker. And I thought I was going to just fall over. I was just doing a pencil sketch, but yeah, I didn't even know what pastels were until 2000. So, but a little bit of history about pastels. They're the oldest, well, I think they're the oldest known medium to man because they're pure pigment. That's what's on the walls in those caves in France. They're prehistoric. It's charcoal and pigment. They will go out and get different colors, and they colored in their little drawings and stuff. And they're still there. If you preserve it properly, pastels will last forever. Keep them out of the direct light. You never want to put really any artwork in direct light, sunlight or anything like that coming in a window. That's bad. But keep them out of that, and in case you need to cover them either with some kind of glass or the polyurethane, which is the plastic. I've got both over there. The donkey is the polyurethane, and it's shiny, it's reflective, but I like them anyway. And the others are a special non-glare glass. All three of those. Yeah. And also, I think the donkey looks like he's got a small mat. You can mat them, or you can go right up to the edge of the frame, and then it's use a spacer. And I brought a spacer, but I'm not sure where it went. But they're little spacers you can glue onto the glass itself, and it keeps it off of the paper, so it'll never touch it. And then it's like a sandwich, a little vacuum in there. And then you seal it up in the back, and it's good to go. Keep it out of the light, and they'll last a very long time.
I'm wondering if our framer is learning anything. I'll talk to Nancy later.
Yeah, there's different ways to frame them. I know some people that literally put the glass on top of but I just can't imagine doing that. I just can't. Because once you move it slightly, there it goes. So, no, I don't think that's a great idea myself. But,
I'm with you.
yeah. Okay. So I'm putting in some dark values just to get really the balance. You don't want to do all your lights first and then, oh, I forgot a dark. Then you put the dark in and it changes all the relationships of all the colors. You really need to get this first. And besides, you feel like you're doing something when you get the dark in first. More productive. Let's see, I'll keep the purple out. Lots of colors. And yes, I have a lot more at home. I have a saying, you can never be too rich, too thin, or have too many pastels. Now my husband's just now learning that. Right, Bill? He's finding out. And you notice I'm kind of just, what I'm really doing is just blocking it in. I'm not going to solid anything because we're going to mess this over in just a minute. And you'll see. It's going to change.
Different directions with your strokes.
It's for interest. And when you do the strokes, I don't do, well, I can do them and occasionally I do one, but it's not my favorite. It's to do photographic. So when it's real detailed and all, you wouldn't do those kind of strokes. You'd want to hide the strokes. But I like to do more impressionistic, and so it's just a habit to sit there and do different strokes. But you'll see what we're fixing to do with that alcohol right there. And I don't mean the kind you drink. This is, yeah. Okay, so let's see. I want a lighter version of this. Too dark. This one. This one's a cool color. I got this and this little group right here. They're from Australia. And there you go.
Were they from the Aborigines?
Pardon? No. But the colors, these colors right here, you can see them later, they're all your rock colors. The orangey, brick looking, like that. They're just awesome. I love them. But I got them at a show in Santa Fe. It was like, they don't do the show anymore, thanks to COVID. But they used to have about 80 different workshops, short workshops, that they would, you sign up for, and it was like a 3-day conference, I think it was, put on by Artisan, the art supply store, the big one in Santa Fe. I think it's the only one, which is kind of sad. Santa Fe is such an artsy town. They're down to one art supply. Kind of strange. Okay, well, I've got my darks in there, so now I'm gonna do some more. I like reds. I'll tone it down later, but I'm just gonna, and I'm adding a little color too. That's not in there, but I'm gonna add it anyway. So it's artist license. Let's see, a little orange. That's a nice one. You may or may not see these colors in the picture, but go ahead and add them. If you like them, like the colors, just add them. You have my permission. Let's see, yellow. I like to think in terms of light, medium, and dark also, of a range of colors. You try to go, this is a pretty strong yellow, a mustardy almost. But, isn't that pretty? Yeah. Now we're cooking. And the nice thing about pastels is it's a layerable medium. You layer. It's all about the layers. And let's see. And they're very correctable. You make a mistake, you can fix it very easily. Try that in watercolor. Yeah. Yeah. Light. Okay. What's left? Let's do bright. This one's kind of yellowy green. It's almost the same color. Yeah, and I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just blocking in right now. And you'll see what I'm gonna do here in a sec. Okay. Oh, no, do a little more. I went to the school of don't ever use black. And I do occasionally now, just a little. But I was taught to use dark, dark, dark colors, but don't use black because it's such a dead color. It sucks up the life and the light. But like anything else, rules are made to be broken. So yeah, I do use it sometimes, but I prefer to use blues and purples and all that. Like when I paint pastel portraits of dogs, most of them are black. I swear to God, there's labs and little Scotties and all that, and they're black dogs. Try getting that light and dark with black, you'll never get it. So you have to use multiple shades of just darker colors. If you look closely at the ones that I do, you'll see all kinds of colors, but almost no black. It's got life to it. Reflects. That's the other thing about pastels. They're pigment with a binding agent, and the binding agent is, there's some kind of a gum of tragacanth or something like that. There's several different kinds, but that's the only one I can remember how to say it. And it holds the thing together, so it's pure pigment with just a little something to hold it together. That's why they're so intense, because watercolor, you take pigment and then you water it down. Same thing with oil, you basically thin it out. But the pastel stuff, it's just shines. And if you were to look at it under a microscope, you'd see lots of little dots, specks. They all reflect the light. So that's why they're so bright when you paint a painting. And don't do this. I'm always telling my students, don't do that for the first week. After that, you can do it. Okay, I'll let you. But for the most part, it pushes the pigment into the paper and it dulls it. And then you have to go back on top with more. And it's like, forget it. But right now, we're going to dull it a little bit with this. So this is 91% alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Why am I using that? And I don't need a whole lot. I could do that whole thing like that. That's all I need.
Is that a tablespoon?
No, I don't need that. Oh, about a tablespoon. Yeah, maybe a little more. Yeah. And then I'm going to take a brush just to little brush. What I'm doing now, it's an underpainting, okay? So what I'm going to do is push the color into the paper so I have an underpainting of the actual pigment, and you'll see why, oops, in just a sec. You start with your lightest colors, so I'm just going to go like that. And I can be messy.
Just damp or
Oh, it's pretty wet.
pretty wet?
Yeah, but the trick is to clean it off on this little rag in my lap between swipes, and that way, that's all I need. If I didn't clean it off, it would get really dirty, and I'd have to go get some new stuff, and it's wasteful. Okay. And there's some there. A lot of times I'll do a underpainting, and it's kind of hard to do it this way. You have to correct your brain on it. But I'll do complementary colors. Like I did a donkey once, and he had orangey brown fur. So what did I do? Blue. I did a blue underpainting, and then when I put the orangey brown on top, it popped. It really popped.
Do you let it dry before you do that?
Yeah, and this because it's 91%, it doesn't take long at all. That's why I do it. Yep. Yeah, we'll be done with this shortly. It's kind of fun. Oops, it just ran. That's okay. It won't matter because this is the underpainting. We're going to go on top of this in a little bit. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to go by value, getting darker. Take the red. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that a little bit too. Now before I finish it, I'll show you something. Here's my finger. Okay, you see all that?
Yeah.
Now when this dries, let's see if it's dry yet. See that? Almost nothing. Yeah, so I'm pushing it into the paper, and then I'll just paint on top. So I'll have a top layer on top of the other color, and it just lends a lot of beauty to it, really. And that. So if you like to paint, this gets your painting out of your system. Now, is it a drawing or is it a painting?
Yes.
I like that. I like that. Yes, good answer. Yeah. Yep. I call it a painting. You know why? Because a drawing is primarily organized lines. A painting is organized shapes. And these are going to be shapes, so we're kind of pastel snobs here, so I call it a painting, yeah. Let's see. Look how that pops next to that yellow with that violet. Almost done. You can do this outside. I've painted outdoors many times. I'm a fair weather painter, I must admit. It gets too cold or starts to rain, I'm out of there. But you can do is just take your little bag of tricks with you, and it dries really fast outside. Your oops, understudy thing. There we go. Any more questions? No questions?
Do you do prints on cards, greeting cards?
What I do is, you know that Fine Art America? It's like, they went up to $35 a year for your membership. It's a bargain, because what I do is I upload most of my stuff to it, and then I order cards. They make fabulous note cards, or greeting cards. And I used to order prints, but it's just too hard to sell prints. I don't know. I end up with all these prints that I didn't sell. So I'm like, oh well. Let's see.
So you resell your greeting cards after you purchase?
Yeah, and I put them in the gallery. And there's a couple of stores in Winnsboro that carry them just for fun. You know, I put them in boxes or plastic sleeves for the individual cards. I actually sell quite a few over time, but it's just a nice way to reproduce your stuff without getting saddled with too much stuff. You'll use your cards eventually, or lucky you can sell them. Okay, now you see all that value? Okay. So I set the tone with the dark background, and the pears are going to pop. That was the whole idea. Now, it's almost dry. If it's cold to your touch, it's still wet. So that's not though. But it'll be there in a second. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. And this is just an easy way to start a painting. You know that, what do they call that, white paper dread or something like that? When you see that white paper, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Yeah. Well, this fixes it. You just get your charcoal and then block it in, and who cares what it looks like? I mean, I've seen stuff like this in museums, right? But they had somebody's name like Matisse behind it. Yeah, that made a difference there. This will never make it, but okay. So, oh, I also, that's right, I took my sanded paper, okay, I cut it, and I glued it, or that 3M sticky stuff. I have a roll of it, a big roll, and so I lay it out, get it on there. You can use spray mount too, but I don't think it sticks as well. This stuff sticks. Then I put my pastel paper on top, but it goes on foam core. That's what I was going to tell you. Foam board or foam core. And I get the acid free. I always get acid free. And so I stick the sanded paper on top of the foam core, and then I've got this structure. It's not just a little piece of paper that's going to curl on me all the time, because it will curl.
What is the name of this tacky paper?
It's a 3M brand. You know, they make all kinds of chemicals, 3M, the letter 3, or number 3, and then M. And I don't know what they call it, but it's
Double-sided tape? Is it a double-sided tape?
no, it's like a roll of stickiness. It's got waxy on one side, and when you unroll it, the sticky side is there, and you can touch it and it just come off on your finger because it's sticky. It's an adhesive, but I don't remember what it's called, but they sell it at all the art supply places like Dick Blick and Jerry's Artorama. I don't know if you can get it on Amazon or not, but it just rolls out. The roll itself is about this tall, so I'll roll it out, take a razor or a razor blade and trim it, and then you get it's called a burnisher, a little blue plastic thing. When you get it down there, then you push it down to make sure the stuff sticks, and it's never peeled up. These just don't peel. Then I pop it in a frame. Because it's already thick, I'm not going to mat this. I could, but then I'd lose a lot of stuff, because this will pop into an 11 by 14. And that's another thing. I have a rule where I always pick my frame before I start. if you've ever done a painting and it wasn't quite the size you wanted, or you cropped it, or this or that or the other, all of a sudden you're stuck not knowing how to frame it, or getting a custom job, which is great for framers, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. But this is how I do it. Yeah. I don't have that. I don't live near anybody who frames, so I'm in the middle of what, 20 miles, 15 miles north to the freeway, 20 or 30 south to the freeway. So we're in between. So we do a lot of Amazon. I wish we had a good art supply store nearby, but we don't.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you use the adhesive after you finish a drawing?
You can. Chances are it might be a little bit curling because it's just going to be a piece of paper. But yes, you can. But how are you going to stick it down without doing that to it? Taking your hand, and you can put some waxy stuff over it, but I'd hate to mess up the whole painting just to get sticky stuff on. But you can, yes. There are ways to do it, and I've had to do it. You're just real careful. You have to be real careful with that. Okay, I think it's pretty much, yeah, it's not cold anymore. So the basic colors are dry. And if you wanted to, you could leave it like that, but I'm not going to. I'm too picky. There. And it's a little dark, but I still have some. So that, I've been using that since COVID, because you couldn't get it during COVID, if you remember that correctly. So I got some, and I'm still on the same batch. So now I'm going to paint the surface on top, put in some layers. And because, like I said, you work with your darks first, I'm just going to take a dark. And like I said, it's not my desire to do super photographic. I'm getting looser and looser with my paintings. But, you know, to each his own. And I so admire people who can do the really photographic, like Linda Lucas Hardy. Oh my gosh, the woman's amazing. If y'all know who she is, the colored pencil artist, Linda Hardy, she's amazing. But I can't do that stuff. Don't want to. I don't have the patience, let's put it that way. It takes a lot of patience. Let's see. And because I like it to keep loose and not look static, I'm going to do some funky lines. Just kind of strokes that go different ways. You can still see it's dark, but you can see the color. I could have just done black, but it's not me. I prefer this. And let's see. And another way to paint, you'll notice I'm basically starting up top because it drops. Oh yeah, I have a little tray down here. It's just mat board that's folded. That's all it is, a little piece of mat, strip of mat board, and it catches the dust so it doesn't go everywhere. And you don't ever want to blow it. Go like that. I mean, this won't blow because it's not real loose. But you don't want to do that because you do put it in the air, and some people have breathing problems and all. But they make fancy air filters should you want to go that route. But I'm just careful and don't blow on it. It's easy to do. And I'm all about color. If you look at my website, you'll see all the darks, the contrasts that I do. I don't like pastel looking things. I paint with pastels, but not in pastel colors. Yeah. Yeah.
Nancy, for anyone interested in taking one of your classes. Where do you offer your classes?
Well, I have a regular class on Thursday nights at the Winnsboro Center for the Arts. I also teach either a 1-day or a 2-day workshop. So, you know, if you wanted to organize one of those, I'd be happy to come down here and teach it. But either 1 day or 2, just depends on how much time people have to go places. But right now they're at the Winnsboro Center for the Arts, and it's like 2 hours from 6 to 8. I have a regular crowd that comes in, but we got plenty of room. And we're fixing to build a new education center in Winnsboro. If you haven't been to Winnsboro lately, the art scene is really exploding. And it's just, we're fixing to get a grant. We don't know for sure, but we know we're still in the running on this grant. And if we get it, it's for $3.5 million. And it will finish our fundraising, but we're going to put in a black box theater because we have a lot of shows, music events and plays and all that. And it will put that in. But the first thing we're going to build is the education center, and we're focusing on children. I mean, we'll still do adults. I'll go over that a little, changing the angle. Still adults, of course. I don't know if you've ever followed. If you go to Winnsboro Center for the Arts.com, it's a mouthful. You'll see all the stuff we do. And we've got great concerts, but it's a small venue, so we're looking to build bigger. Let's see. And like I said, I could do this. I'll show you what it looks like. See how it blends? And that's great if you want to blend, but I don't want to blend. I'd much rather have it just kind of interesting looking in the background. Yeah, and like I said, some of my students, that's all they do, is this. But that's okay. How about a little stem? And you can see it's a little bit, not transparent, but it's not covering completely, and that's okay, because I like that stuff to kind of show through. I think it's more fun that way. But if you look at those magazines, you'll see the wide variety you can do with pastels. It's anything. You can do anything. And most of these, the really soft square ones, they're called Terry Ludwig's, because Terry Ludwig, he just passed on recently. He's like, gosh, 90-something. He invented them. He was a great artist, and I've taken like 3 of his workshops. He was a really funny guy. But out of Colorado. But they sell, they have their website, but they also sell through other places. I always got them when they're on sale, because you could get kits and sets, so you don't just buy one at a time. You'll go broke. But the kits are always on sale. So let's see.
Do you use Unison?
Yes, yes. I have a set of Unison. Yep. I got I won I guess it was a certificate at Jack Richardson, and so I bought some Unison pastels with it. I love them. They're super nice. They're soft. They're a portrait set, so I don't have those here because they're in a different box. But let's see. Pay attention, Nancy. Ooh, I love that red. And yeah, I'm putting more red in than's there, but that's my prerogative, because I like it. See how I made use of the color underneath? And if you ever look at pears, they kind of look like that. Soft. I'm not liking this. It's just too drab. So we will get a lighter color. Where this was, when I took the picture, that's my windowsill in my kitchen. So you can see it's tiled, and so it's got a window in the background, and in the bigger picture you can see me taking the picture. But yeah, that's what that is. But I like texture too, so these are great for getting textures. It kind of looks like stone. How's that recording thing doing? Is it working? Good. It's a little more interesting. Now that bottom one is just too flat. So I highly recommend, and I'm not saying my workshop, I'm saying workshops in general, in any medium, I highly recommend taking them, especially as adults, because I learned more in workshops than I ever did in school. I mean, I learned the basics of art and the rules and all that, and yeah, I'll never forget that, perspective and all that. That's great, but you really learn how to use the stuff in a workshop. At least you should. Don't think I like that either. And something I haven't been doing, but I try to do it, is you want color harmony in a painting. You don't want all your yellows here, all your blues here, you know, everything's separate. You want to take like this and go, there's a little bit of that up there. It unifies your painting. You don't have to do a lot, but a little helps. You want to keep the same values though. So I'm not doing this up here on purpose. Maybe a little of that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's real subtle, but it adds a little texture. Yeah. I like a linear look too, kind of like Van Gogh did. He had a lot of linear lines in his paintings. And that's why I like them. How am I doing on time?
Good.
Oh, okay. Good.
Were you using a variety of softness in those pastels? I know you said they were different.
Mostly soft, but there's a couple that are harder. Yeah. And I could come along and take my new pastels, these sticks, and for detail, like if I had some green in there, I could come in and really get a real hard line. That's what they're for, is for details, mostly. But if you like sketchy looks, use the new pastels and the pencils and you'll get a really cool painting. And it'll be pretty realistic, actually.
I've
But
seen some artists mixing pastels in with, say their acrylic painting or oil painting. Do you do that both with dry and with oils, or is there one more apt to that?
is there one that you would mix with it?
Yeah, which pastel would be mixed with, let's say, an acrylic painting, if somebody were to go back over a piece or add?
Oh, to go over a piece? It would have to be under glass because you could just do that and it'd be toast.
They have oil pastels.
Yeah, they do have oil pastels. You could do it with that. I would recommend that. Because anytime you use these without doing what I did with alcohol wash, which you saw, it just took it all away, the dust, any other pastel, it's going to come right off.
And if you've got another medium beneath it, it's not going to stick, right?
Yeah, it will probably stick some, but yeah, not much. This sanded paper is the best. Once you use the other, I recommend the other stuff for learning, but once you go to the sanded, it's like, yeah, this is it. I'm home. I don't know about that.
Are there any fixatives you might use on it?
Okay, that's a good question. I was taught never to use fixatives also. I don't think I like that. But I'm going to do this. See that? Taking it off. It's like, no, that's not the right color. Fixatives, most of them will dull your painting. It's like putting glue on it or something, a thin glue. It just pushes the little dust particles into the painting, and then you just lost all that vibrancy. So, but there is one fixative that's come out in the last few years, and I use it, but only at the very end to, like a little bit of insurance. It's still, I could do my finger on it and wipe it if I wanted to, but it does eliminate a lot of it. And it does not change the color at all. It's like, you wouldn't even know it was on there.
Do you keep a piece of paper to kind of clean your pastels off every once in a while when you're using them because they get mixed?
Okay. Yeah. I actually, when I'm painting at home especially, I'll have a rag in my lap and I'll go before I put it away. Or like this one, see, it's got all that on it. So I just, whoop. Now, I also have, who makes it? Somebody named Cherry, the last name is Cherry. It's like a tumbler, but it's for pastels. And you put in, what is that medium? It's grits of all the things, a type of grits. And you fill it.
What you eat?
Yeah, it's, some instant corn grit. You can use cornmeal, because I used to use cornmeal like in a little plastic tub and just shake it. You know, put the pastels in it, and it'll clean pretty good. But of course, the tumbler's great. I can drop like 20 or 30 pastels in it, and then run it for 5 minutes, and then they come out all spanking clean. So, just depends. And you have to count when you do it, because if you don't count as they go in, you might miss one in the stuff. But so yeah, you can just wipe it on a towel. You can wipe it on a paper towel. Pretty much any of that.
What kind of brush do you use? Is that a watercolor brush or is it
I think this was.
does it really matter?
This is just a synthetic type of a watercolor. If I want to really scrape some off, I get a real stiff little brush, just a short bristle stiff, and I'll scrape it off with that. One time I scraped an entire painting off. I didn't like it. I said, you know what, and you know what, I saved my dust. That's another thing. At home, I don't bother today, I'm gonna dump it. But at home, I have my little trays, and as I go through color families, it catches, and then I pick up my stuff, put it over there, and then I pick it up, and I have little film canisters and little bitty containers, and about 5 color groups, and I put them in, and then I reconstitute it. You can do that. It's great. All you need is distilled water. I have a little mortar and pestle, just a little bitty one, and I grind it all up real good. And
One of my art teachers used
This is
gelatin
fun.
and made.
yeah. Here's another one. Here's another one. These are ones I made because I didn't really grind it up that good.
Hold up in front of the camera.
We can't see.
Oh,
Hold it in
yeah,
front of the-
sorry. Where's the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see those? You see the little speckles in that one? I didn't grind it too well. But this one's, I paid more attention to it. And it makes for really interesting neutrals. You get really good neutrals that way. And like this one, I use it on hair, but it has all different little colors. And so when you do hair, it looks like strands of hair. It's really cool. But yeah, so I save them. And I don't do it for the money because, yeah, I could go get a new one. I don't care. I think it's more fun. And all the different colors you can get. And especially if you drop one, which will happen, and break it, don't cry. Just pick up as many pieces as you can and then smash them up and then add a little distilled water and you kind of push it around till paste and then you put it on a paper towel and kind of form it. I kind of roll it in my hands and then put it on a paper towel and let it dry for a couple days and you've got a new stick. That's another one. Oh yeah, this was the first one I ever did. It's really a bad job, but
Up a little higher, a little higher.
oh,
There
you
you
can
go.
see all the little holes in it and everything. But it's stuck together and it's pink and I can use it. In fact,
Get back.
yeah, why not? Yeah, it's still dark. It's just something interesting.
You're good.
I
And
can tell you, my husband's probably shaking in his boots if I start pastels.
As long as there's an even exchange.
Something has to leave.
That's
yeah.
You're hired.
He's gonna say one more thing she's saving, oh my.
Yeah, really. Well, and people go, well, why don't you try mosaics? Because we have a big mosaic contingency in Winnsboro. And I'm like, right. I have the room for that in my studio, and I've just got tons of money to go out and buy all this stuff. Nope. Not gonna happen. I still have my oil stuff from college, but I haven't oil painted since college. So I admire it. I love it. I love the way it smells too. I'm one of those strange people. But I don't have the patience with the drying and all that. And there we go. I kind of wanted to tone that down a little bit. It's more than what's really there, but I don't care. A little bit there. Now, paying a little more attention to it. And I generally don't finish one real quickly. I mean, I do, and then I mess with it for a week or so. Just one, I'll walk by the studio, it's on my easel, and I'll just run over and grab a stick, and then I'll walk away. So, and that's what's nice about pastels. You can do that. I could come back a year later and add another stroke. It wouldn't matter. You can't do that with a lot of mediums. Let's see, it's too dark.
So really, as far as cleanup goes, when you're working,
Uh-huh.
you just kind of clean your pieces that you're working with, and you don't have a whole lot to put away, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't, a true confession, I don't really clean them that often. If I pick one up and I see it's dirty, oh yeah, okay. But I'm really bad about that, so yeah. But yeah, it's easy, it doesn't smell. You're not gonna choke the house out down with a lot of heavy heavy chemicals or anything. You can take them if you're careful and you watch they don't break. You can take them on trips and do all kinds of stuff. Just get a little set like that set right there. It's only $15. We sell them at the art center. I mean, you can get them on Amazon, but I always make sure that we have them handy for students that if they want to add a few colors. 64 is a lot.
How many of you all have been to Winnsboro? Raise your hand. Quite a third of y'all. I would encourage you to go. It's, like Nancy said, it's a great community. They have a fantastic art center. You all know Christopher that was here.
Yeah.
That came and shared.
Good old Chris, yeah.
Just a great, and Christopher and I may be doing karaoke coming up soon. So.
Oh no. At Taco Dive?
Yep.
Yep.
Thursday nights, right? I told my
Yeah.
kids Thursday. We were
Yeah. Yeah, we come out of my art class and we hear the karaoke. It's not very pretty. It's like just after 8 o'clock, they're all pretty sauced, and it's like, oh no, they're terrible, but it's funny. We just laugh. Yeah.
Well, I'm planning on going and seeing the installation.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's awesome. They have a group of mosaic artists out of Dallas, and some local mosaic artists, and then Chris has his installations. What does he call those? It's not assemblages. Yes, thank you. And they're amazing. He really is an artist from the heart in so many ways. Everything he does has feeling in it, and you can tell it's memories from growing up and everything. But and I did say I liked linear, didn't I? So yeah, I'm gonna just play a little bit. I like that contrast. And I could paint the same thing like 5 times and it'll look different every time. But you can do strokes like that. I know some artists, all they do is strokes. And then they layer the colors, and it's beautiful, but I don't have that kind of patience either. And yes, you can, besides scraping things off, you can make lots of corrections in a pastel. Like that, it's too much. Yeah, I kind of blew it on that. Okay, go back to that. But like I said, if you like color and you like to draw, you should try pastels. Because I'm going to get a little linear now, just because I like it. You can't saturate a color too. Oops, just pressed a little hard. You can get your paper too full, and then you can take it off with a brush, or take your alcohol and push it into the paper, and then you can paint back on top of it again. Let's see. Yeah. You have to be careful using a brush for the loose stuff, because you'll take off a lot if you're not careful. I'm not real crazy about it, but it's getting there.
hour, can you just finish one of the pairs for us? So
I love it. Okay. Let's see what we got. This. They're not going to be photographic.
On stage next time.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're basically almost done because I'm just going to leave them real linear. I'm not going to blend a lot.
Her husband has on his phone, he just showed me too, a set that she finished that he purchased. So if you all would like to see.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what she had, I mean.
Yeah.
No, no, it's very difficult to create an art piece in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Having to talk. and-
Sure.
If you use the alcohol at this point,
Mm-hmm.
would it dull it at all? It would dull it, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It would push it in, and then you just do a little more on top.
Oh.
But yes, it would dull it. Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's say you were at home in your studio,
Uh-huh.
and so you're taking a break now at
Uh-huh.
this point. How much more are you would you typically put into a piece like this?
You mean time-wise?
Yeah, time-wise, or just
Mm.
what, talk through what you would
Mhm.
change or
Mhm.
do in addition to what you've done so far.
I'd probably do another half hour or so total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I would walk by and look at it and go, oh, I don't like that, and I'll just do a little bit, and then I'll think about it, and then, and yeah, I can see stuff here. But, yeah, just maybe another half hour total. It depends on how realistic you want it to look. If you look at what my husband taught, it's very impressionistic, the pears.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So if you wanted to do more blending, do you
Uh-huh.
do the blending actually with the pastels while you're doing it? Or do you do it in another way?
yeah, you could layer, and you can even take a new pastel, these hard ones, like this is a pink. I can do that. See how it's blending? Yeah. It's kind of softening it like that. It's a hard edge, like that. But that's one way of blending. And yeah, you can use your finger. I'll show you what it looks like. If I were to just blend that pear. Let's just blend this one.
But it really depends on the kind of look you're going for.
Right, right,
You want
right.
something
It definitely
soft,
depends,
abstract.
yeah. Because, see, I could get it real soft and all that, but I don't have to. Yeah, it's whatever you want to do. But, see, I go back a little bit. But, yeah. Yeah. And you can, if you don't have a certain color, make it. You do a certain blue with a certain yellow, boom, you've got a green that's not in your wheelhouse, maybe. But, yeah, you can mix all kinds of colors. So, it's basically, and I'll play with it some more. I'll send Deanna a photo of it when I'm done.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I know it's got to be a lot of pressure to be with an audience. And two, I know that you all kind of miss, she's got such a sweet face. Get to see her as she works. We opted for you to see her work. And so these are the kinks that we kind of work out. I'm going to have two cameramen. But anyway, I appreciate my husband being here and running this for us and recording for us. So we'll see if we get the instruction uploaded on YouTube. I'll let you all know about that. Nancy did sit to work this whole time too because she threw her back out the other day. So, yeah. We appreciate her doing that
It's
for
better,
us.
but yeah, not taking any chances.
Awesome. Well, and I have one last announcement too. Next month, Justin Brown is going to be with us, and he is going to share with us what you all have been asking for, at least several of you have, about using social media and Instagram and that kind of stuff. So he's going to give us some media tips at our next meeting. And Justin and I have worked together on doing a workshop date for you all. I believe we decided on June 15th. It's a Saturday. We're going to do a 4-hour workshop over at Studio Art Lounge. So I'll get you the info on the cost on that, because we are paying for our room, refreshments, and for Justin to share his expertise with us. But that is an area that he is great at. If you all don't follow Eat of Art House, you